Dilip's concern about the morale of people working in big organizations which are not sensitive to their talents and their skills. Any questions? I'm sure there are lots of eminent chefs sitting here.
Dilip, if you remember at Manav's General Managers Conclave, I spoke about a subject, and I think I'm still very dear to my heart, and I'm kind of never figured out why in hotels we're all competing to have larger buffets, 100 items, 50 items. Why is quantity such a thing over quality? And I gave that example, Sourish, if you remember. I stayed in this German hotel called Motel 1, 2-star hotel in Berlin. And for 12 euros, they gave me 8 items on a breakfast, and it was 100% organic and amazing. With the way the world is changing, with pollution, with air pollution, ground pollution, what is going into our bodies is very critical to a lot of customers. And I think there is a story out there that needs to be looked at, and hotels need to understand that there is a changing world out there. But there is still a competition to make the largest buffets, the longest buffets, without worrying what is going in, whether it's trans fats, whether it's where the food is coming from. I think a lot of it is only spent on theory on these panels, but a lot of it gets forgotten when you go back into the kitchen and you've got your 25% food cost to deal with and stuff like that. Somewhere there has to be a new revolution on F&B, especially in hotels, and as you are running India's largest hotel chain now, maybe you could lead from the front.
I think you're speaking to the converted here, Arjun, but if I may just say that I think you're beginning to see a changing trend in hotel buffets, maybe not in terms of what you're ordering, but for example, in a lot of interactivity you see. So what gets seen by the guest and what he gets to eat, there's an element of freshness coming in there. The other thing we're beginning to see and do a lot of is, while we want to give a lot of choice, you'll see more and more chefs trying to give biting portions, right? So you'll have not a full eggs Benedict, a big one, but they'll probably make a small one on a spoon, which is biteable, and you might have a choice of 3 different eggs, so you can get that as, with eggs Florentine or Benedict or whatever it is, the same family of egg preparations, but 3 bites will still be 1 egg. So I see a lot of that trying to happen, because you're right, again, chefs want to show what they can make, but they're getting smarter in terms of doing food in a way in which it might look a lot, but is actually just, very presentable and more from a tasting perspective. I'm just a huge fan of the concept of tasting menus. I believe that's the future, because that's the way when you go for a dining experience, you can actually experience so much more. Don't we all have that experience when we go and see big menus and say, that's also great, that also looks great, that also looks great, but you're only going to order 1 dish. And here, and I think again, what Chef Manish does, that Indian accent with when he decides to put out a tasting menu, is just the kind of experiences we need. But the point on hotels needing to kind of go more, which is the point I also made, that today we are seeing our consumers tell us that it's good to see more healthy foods within your buffets. So for example, with us for Westerns, you have to have superfood products on your breakfast buffets anywhere in the world. So that understanding is there. Do they do it in a creative way? Do they do it? And by the way, cost is a big thing. So the big buffet thing definitely has to be a function of whether your general manager is going to finger you saying, why is your food cost going up when you're only running a buffet restaurant?
Any other? This is an interesting point. Yes, the gentleman there.
I'm Ajay Khanna from Hotelier. I have a question. You said something very interesting, that in big corporates you have to have certain systems, dress in a particular way. And on the other hand, a chef is an artist. And as you also mentioned, he wants to wear what he wants, doesn't want to wear the cap. How do big corporates handle F&B, personnel, and yet keep the controls that your corporates have written in the books, and yet allow them the space to do what they do?
So again, I don't think I'm competent to answer that, simply because I don't believe in it. I believe we don't understand how you can marry creativity, passion, being a maverick, all of that, which chefs necessarily are, into the kind of culture you otherwise want to foster into a hotel. You want your hotel to be creative, innovative, but when you are running a hotel with 400, 500 employees, the balance between, it often happens, I mean, I'm sure there might be some salespeople here, you know, when everybody says, वो शेफ खाना बना रहा है तो मैं खाना भी तो खिला रहा हूँ, अगर मैं खिलाऊंगा नहीं तो what is the chef's job? So why is he thought of as being so great that you got to pay him so much more than I get paid? The salespeople are incentivized better because it's their job to bring in business, and the people in operations will always say, so we don't deliver to the guests that you don't believe that we get paid. These kind of restrictions make it very challenging. It's only when you do indeed have a great chef in the kitchen of a hotel, and I know, you know, Chef Manji's probably created several of these in ITC, the kind of people who then understand and can balance and work within the needs of the organization and the hotel and the needs to make sure that their kitchen brigade are kept motivated. But trust me, it's not an easy thing to do, and it's getting harder and harder by the day.
Yeah, you know, this time only for one question. So, okay, the gentleman there with the beard.
Hi, sir. My name is Gautam. I have my own startup where we focus on project management and building of restaurants. My question was, with the change in the food and beverage trend in hotels specifically, has with the cyber hub and the high street and the Connaught Place and the Khan markets, will the food and beverage move out of hotels with the stress on the real estate and all that happening, or will hotels still focus on evolving their food and beverage concepts to the monkey bars or the socials, or would we continue the pregos and one brand carrying it forward? So what is the future of food and beverage specifically for a brand hotel?
Oh, I wish I had that crystal ball to gaze in and tell you what might happen, but indeed, the downsizing of food and beverage in hotels is already happening. The creation of high street zones like Cyber Hub, etc., for food and beverage is a given. It's only going to grow. So I think hotels are recognizing that. Owners. So when we work with project teams to build hotels, I made the comment earlier that even if we want to have F&B in our hotel, I think we should plan it in a way in which it's going to be outsourced, and so the importance of things like keeping street side access to your food and beverage. It hasn't changed the fact that a lot of people who come to dine today don't want to go through lobbies and spaces to reach where they're going. You know, in the earlier days, people said it's fashionable to see in a hotel lobby, so like, you know, you can have your restaurant anywhere. That doesn't work anymore. So going forward, I think those hotels or hotel brands who believe that they still need large food and beverage, they should make sure that the access of how people get to their restaurants is easier in design, and certainly try and work with third-party outsourced restaurants to develop food and beverage. In reality, the guest who's dining at that restaurant but staying in your hotel, chances are he might not even know that I'm going to a third-party outsourced restaurant.
Thank you, Mr. Puri. I think there were a lot of takeaways from this session. I've heard you talking about investments and other things, but you know, it was really refreshing, and I think we all agree that it was a very nice, thought-provoking talk on food and beverage and the emerging scenario. Let's give a big round of applause for Mr. Puri and